The Virgo full moon on March 18 holds an anchor to some big energies demanding attention over the second part of the month. Virgo's good at holding space, being resourceful and bringing order to chaos. Although super sensitive, Virgo chooses analysis over emotion and service over selfish. They're exactly who you want in a crisis, with level-headed intelligence and a practical ingenuity. Look at the chart. The moon is at the tail end of a kite. That's exciting. It's a way to lift off and get out. But it's not a very stable kite. See, the direction is slightly split between these planets at the top. And this red line between Uranus and Mars and Venus is like sideways hot and cold wind gusts. The challenge for the Virgo moon is to stay sensible and adaptable. At the leading edge in Pisces, the Sun has a little fish stellium of Mercury, Jupiter and Neptune, trailing close behind. This directs the kite into a place where hopes, dreams and plans expand into a new level. And not only that, these last degrees of Pisces are very sensitive, mysterious and a bit magical. They're at the very last degrees of the zodiac wheel and represent a culmination, a final exhale, letting go to transition into new breath, new life, fresh perspective. It's where your heart wants to go without looking back. The Sun is supporting the spine of the kite, and to get yourself off the ground, you'll have to dig deep into self-belief and focus on your goal, being present, showing up. In the midst of all these shiny distractions, you could be pulled off course. So Virgo needs you to stay authentic and address logistics. This reminds me of the image of the eagle flying through spirit, tied by a chain to a toad, representing the earthy practical needs of life. As above, so below. If you aren't earthed in reality, the eagle takes off and your spirit is untethered. If you have no vision or imagination, the eagle can't lift the chain and you get bogged down in a rut. The idea is to have the chain nicely balanced with a bit of slack between the two, like the spine of the kite. The Mercury, Jupiter and Neptune stellium can fill your head with ideas and make talk big and boasty, but it can also fine-tune your intuition and drop big hints through dreams and synchronicities. You'll find yourself navigating a path between the best parts of imagination and the disappointment of fantasy. Jupiter and Neptune build hope, but they split the direction. It really needs the Virgo moon to keep emotions in check, criticism constructive, and attention to detail before being swept away in a gust of hot air. The kite is made up of a grand trine, joining the moon, Pluto, and Sedna with the North Node. They're in earth signs, sharing a rapid call and response between them. Grand Trines set up an easy flow, but it's tricky to read when the participants are Pluto, dwarf planet and god of the underworld, Sedna, the multidimensional goddess of evolution and the oceans, and the moon, protector and nurturer, queen of the tides, dreams, emotional safety, and the primary feminine force. The flow between them could be a rush of psychic information, or a wave of grief that shakes you into rebirth and transformation. It could also amplify fears and vulnerabilities, going around in circles and getting stuck in the past. The only way is up, and that means do a safety check and lean into what fills your heart. Last moon, we had an astrological purple patch. Bad things happened, but it could have been worse. Russia's invasion of Ukraine was met with passionate local resistance and stalled by lack of food and supplies, tanks left abandoned, unprepared soldiers surrendering, duped into combat. Volodymyr Zelensky emerged as an inspiring and engaging leader, and the world responded with governments and private sector sanctions aimed at breaking the financial power led by Putin's inner circle of cronies and oligarchs. Hacktivists crashed Russia's military networks, and speculation grew about Putin's mental health, puffy appearance, and increasing isolation. In Australia, a rain bomb flashed over a quarter of the country, burying cities, roads and bridges under mud, water and debris. Sedna rules climate change, and it's impossible to deny Australia is in the mosh pit. It's going to become very expensive if we don't commit action to a cleaner future. Here's the chart for Lismore, at the centre of the Australian floods, when the Wilson River levee broke at 2 a.m. on Feb 28. We have those 3 bundles I talked about the last moon. The 28th was a few days before the Pisces moon, so the happy bundle of Sun, Moon and Jupiter wasn't quite lined up and active. The purge bundle of Pluto, Mars, Venus and Vesta, and the planning bundle of Saturn, Mercury and Juno was set to go. In terms of floods, breach boundaries, loss of life and supplies affected, it's this bundle, the purge bundle, with Venus, Vesta, Mars, Pluto and the Moon. At 2 a.m. in Lismore, the Moon was exact on Pluto and the levee broke, flooding the town. This purge bubble is Trine Sedna in the North Node, and trines are harmonious, but this is an example of trine energy being so keen to merge it spilled over, literally bringing the land and the water together in a rush. In the Lismore chart at 2 a.m, with Pluto and the Moon conjunct, an exact grand trine was formed with the midheaven, and opposite Neptune was just a few degrees from the IC, nailing the event to that place on Earth and thrusting the region into the spotlight. That's why the current grand trine is hard to read. Sedna, Pluto and the Moon in fluid motion is pretty epic. Sedna and the North Node are guiding wings on one side of the kite. Pluto is on the other flank. These are really powerful forces to balance, with a resolute sense of no choice between them. Sedna, who turned away from hierarchy and patriarchal traditions, and the dark power, fear and ancestral energy of Pluto, weighing in against hope and belief of a better future at the lead. Sedna says you can transform new life from pain, and that's where the planets are pointed. For some, this might be about a career change, balancing stability and living modestly as a new path gains momentum. For others, it's more about discovering a new passion or resurrecting a forgotten one. Financial losses and gains can't be ruled out, but the energy moves quickly and closing doors open others. With all the movement, it's not a time to rigidly hold on to stubborn attitudes. Uranus is part of the distraction with this moon, and it has a surprise side tackle with Venus and Mars in Aquarius. And this is intended to provoke. We can't downplay the disturbance, but try not to let it shake your self-belief. There's a sense of exposure, a sudden breach or a revelation that literally shows who's in bed with who. This Uranus blast sets the bats amongst the pigeons, and Saturn and Juno are nearby, with consequence and even retaliation if pacts and agreements aren't honoured. Venus and Mars together leave gaps in security, and Uranus in Taurus covers both oligarchs and tyrants. Over the next moon phase, I expect more community strength, hacktivism and or cyber attack in support of Ukraine. Uranus can inspire revolution, a 180-degree U-turn, or icy brutality. The full moon Kite is aimed through the thunderstorm, so keep your frequency up and your vibe tuned to let complications slide off without breaking your stride. One way I relate to Virgo, it's like a blade of grass, pure, tough and flexible. The strongest wind can't pull it out. It can grow anywhere, and it's the first thing to appear after a fire. It regenerates by adapting. Virgo's superpower is to find beauty in the detail and service to others. If you're feeling lost, overwhelmed or embattled, Bring yourself back to basics. Eat good food, start a simple routine, write a list, do housework, tidy your computer. Don't allow the chaos around you to disturb your present moment. Virgo full moons are a fantastic time to do ritual. But if you're planning some serious planetary magic, just be aware that Uranus is involved in this moon and can bring unpredictable results. Full moon wishes at this time might also be better about coming back to basics, using Virgo to call for order, structure and support to whatever needs order, structure and support. There won't be perfect answers over this moon phase, but there's enough space to guide yourself home to what really matters. As above, so below. I'm Merryl, and this is my mystery school. Like, follow, share and subscribe to support my channel. If you'd like more, contact me on my website www.merrylkey.com and check my other videos on my YouTube channel. Blessed be.